A poor kid asked for an autograph. Kurt instead handed him his guitar and a life-changing secret. December 13th, 1993. The Seattle Center Coliseum. The air thick with cigarette smoke, sweat, and teenage desperation. Outside, rain hammered the concrete like 1,000 impatient fingers. Inside, 18,000 voices screamed as one organism, hungry for the profit of their generation. But in the shadowy corner near the loading dock, where security guards chain-smoked between sets, a 14-year-old boy named Marcus Webb stood alone, his flannel shirt 3 sizes too big, his sneakers held together with duct tape. He clutched a crumpled poster in trembling hands. His eyes were bloodshot, not from drugs or exhaustion, but from something far more devastating. What happened in the next 17 minutes would not only save his life, it would expose a secret about Kurt Cobain that the world wasn't ready to hear. This is a true story. Every detail you're about to hear comes from Marcus's own testimony, interviews with witnesses that night, and documents sealed for over 2 decades. Before we continue, I need to tell you something. This channel exists because of people like you who believe stories like Marcus's deserve to be told. Not for clicks, not for algorithms, but because somewhere right now, there's another kid standing in the rain thinking nobody sees them. If this story moves you, hit subscribe. Not for me, for that kid, for Marcus, for everyone who ever felt invisible. Now, let me take you back to who Marcus was before that December night. Marcus Webb grew up in a condemned apartment in South Seattle, the kind of building where the electricity worked if you were lucky. His father had vanished before his 3rd birthday. His mother, Sarah Webb, worked triple shifts at a laundromat, her hands perpetually cracked from industrial detergent. She was fighting stage 3 breast cancer with no insurance, paying for chemotherapy in cash, $20 at a time. Marcus knew the weight of invisibility. At Roosevelt High School, he was the kid who ate lunch in the bathroom, the kid whose shoes squeaked because the soles were separating, the kid who wore the same Nirvana t-shirt 4 days straight because it was the only shirt that didn't have holes. Teachers looked through him like frosted glass. Classmates mocked the smell of mildew that clung to his clothes because their apartment had black mold spreading across the ceiling like a slow-motion plague. But Marcus had one escape, one sanctuary, Nirvana. When Nevermind dropped in 1991, something inside him cracked open. Kurt Cobain's voice wasn't pretty. It was damaged. It was angry. It screamed the things Marcus couldn't say aloud. Every lyric felt like Kurt had somehow climbed inside his chest and read the graffiti on his ribs. Smells Like Teen Spirit wasn't just a song. It was proof that someone out there understood what it meant to be unwanted, discarded, thrown away by a world that chewed up poor kids and spit out statistics. Marcus taught himself to play guitar on a broken acoustic he found in a dumpster behind a pawn shop. 3-string, no case, neck warped from water damage. He learned every Nirvana song by ear, playing until his fingers bled, until the pain in his hands eclipsed the pain in his heart. Music became his oxygen. Kurt became his religion. Then, November 1993, Marcus came home from school to find his mother unconscious on the bathroom floor. The cancer had metastasized to her bone. The doctors gave her 4 to 6 months, maybe less. The medical bills now exceeded $47,000. They were losing the apartment. Sarah Webb lay in a charity hospital bed, her skin the color of old newspaper, whispering apologies to her son for being born. Marcus stopped going to school. He stopped eating. He sat on the fire escape of their condemned building, staring at the Space Needle in the distance, and imagined jumping. 14 years old, already writing his will on the back of an eviction notice. Then he heard the news. Nirvana was playing a secret show at the Seattle Center Coliseum, one night only, a benefit concert for local AIDS charity. Tickets were $50. Marcus had $11.37 to his name. He made a decision that night, a reckless, impossible decision. He would go to that concert, not with a ticket. He would wait by the back entrance. He would wait all night if he had to. And when Kurt Cobain walked past, Marcus would ask for one thing, not money, not help, just an autograph, just proof that he had been seen, that for one moment in his invisible life, someone who mattered had acknowledged his existence. December 13th, Marcus stood in the freezing rain for 7 hours. No coat, no umbrella. Security guards told him to leave 4 times. He didn't. His lips turned blue. His teeth chattered so violently he bit his tongue and tasted copper. Other fans came and went, shouting at him, calling him pathetic. One guy threw a beer bottle that shattered near his feet. Marcus didn't move. Inside, the concert raged. The walls vibrated with bass that sounded like a heartbeat. Marcus pressed his ear against the cold metal door and listened to muffled scream, the feedback of guitars, the primal howl of Kurt's voice tearing through lithium. Then, 11:47 p.m. The back door swung open. Kurt Cobain stepped into the alley. He was smaller than Marcus imagined, skinnier. He wore a ratty green cardigan with cigarette burns on the sleeves, jeans with holes in both knees, and Converse so worn the canvas had turned gray. His hair hung in greasy strands over his face. His eyes were glacial blue, ringed with exhaustion that looked older than time. Kurt lit a cigarette. His hands shook. That's when he saw Marcus. The boy was soaking wet, shivering so hard his bones seemed to rattle. His flannel shirt clung to his frame like a burial shroud. In his hands, the poster had dissolved into wet pulp, the ink running in black rivers down his wrist. Kurt stopped mid-drag. "Jesus Christ, kid! How long have you been out here?" Marcus couldn't speak. His jaw had locked from the cold. He managed to lift the destroyed poster, a pathetic offering to his god. Kurt took one look at the boy's eyes and saw something there that made him freeze. Not star-struck admiration, not teenage hero worship, something darker, something Kurt recognized because he had seen it in the mirror every morning since he was 12 years old. Desperation, the kind that comes right before the edge. "Come here," Kurt said softly. He grabbed Marcus by the shoulder and pulled him inside the building. The warmth hit like a slap. Marcus's body convulsed. The sudden temperature changed too much for his system. Kurt yelled for someone to bring towels, coffee, anything. They sat in a concrete hallway backstage. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The walls were covered in graffiti, layers of marker and spray paint forming an archaeological record of forgotten bands. Kurt wrapped a musty blanket around Marcus's shoulders and handed him a styrofoam cup of coffee so hot it burned going down. "What's your name?" Kurt asked. Marcus. Marcus. Okay. You go to the show?" Marcus shook his head. "You got money for a ticket?" Another shake. Kurt studied him for a long moment. Then he asked the question that changed everything. "Why are you really here, Marcus?" And something broke. Marcus, this 14-year-old kid who hadn't cried in 3 years, who had learned to swallow his pain like broken glass, started sobbing. Not quiet tears, guttural, violent sobs that sounded like vomiting. He told Kurt everything. His mother, the cancer, the eviction, the dumpster guitar, the fire escape, the edge. Kurt didn't interrupt, didn't offer empty platitudes. He just sat there, smoking cigarette after cigarette, his eyes locked on Marcus's face. When Marcus finally went quiet, throat raw from confession, Kurt stood up. He walked down the hallway to where his guitar tech was packing up equipment. He returned carrying a black Fender Stratocaster, scratched and battered, covered in stickers and duct tape. He placed it in Marcus's lap. "This is the guitar I used tonight," Kurt said quietly. "I want you to have it." Marcus stared at the instrument like it was a hallucination. I can't." "Yes, you can. Listen to me." Kurt knelt down so they were eye level. "I know what you're thinking about. I know because I've thought about it too. Every goddamn day. You think nobody sees you. You think nobody cares if you disappear. You're wrong." Kurt's voice dropped to almost a whisper. "I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone. You know why I write songs? It's not because I'm talented. It's not because I love music. I write songs because, when I was your age, I tried to kill myself. Twice. Failed both times. And I was so angry that I failed. You know what saved me? Not therapy. Not God. Not some inspirational bullshit. It was this." He tapped the guitar. "This instrument gave me a reason to wake up when I had none. It gave me a language when I had no words. It made me matter when the world said I didn't. You found a guitar in a dumpster and taught yourself to play. You know what that tells me? It tells me you're a fighter. It tells me you're supposed to be here." Tears were streaming down Kurt's face now, too. "Your mom's dying. I can't fix that. I can't pay your bills or cure cancer or make the world less cruel, but I can give you this. And I can tell you that the world needs your pain. It needs your story. It needs your songs. Because somewhere out there is another kid like you, sitting on a fire escape, thinking about jumping. And maybe, just maybe, your music will be the thing that keeps them breathing. Kurt pulled a Sharpie from his pocket. On the back of the guitar he wrote, "For Marcus, you matter. Stay. KC." Then he reached into his wallet and pulled out every bill he had, $460. He pressed it into Marcus's hand. "Take your mom somewhere nice for Christmas. Buy her something that makes her smile. Play her a song on this guitar. And promise me you'll keep playing. Promise me you'll stay." Marcus couldn't speak. He could only nod, clutching the guitar like a life preserver in an ocean of grief. Kurt stood up, wiped his eyes with the back of his hand, and gave Marcus one last look. "Don't waste your pain, kid. Transform it. That's the secret they don't tell you. Pain is just fuel. It's rocket fuel. It's what launches you into the life you're supposed to live." Then he walked away, disappearing into the labyrinth of backstage corridors, leaving Marcus sitting alone with a guitar worth more than hope. Now, here's what happened next. The part that proves this story is more than just a moment of celebrity kindness. Marcus took that guitar home. He played it for his mother every single day until she died on March 3rd, 1994. He played her All Apology. He played her original songs he wrote in her hospital room. Sarah Webb passed away with her son's music as the last sound she heard. 1 month later, Kurt Cobain took his own life. Marcus found out on the news. He was 17 when he finally understood what Kurt had given him that night. It wasn't just a guitar. It wasn't just money. Kurt had given him the only thing he had left to give. Hope extracted from hopeless. A man standing on the edge of his own abyss, reaching back to pull someone else away from theirs. Marcus never sold that guitar. He kept it. He kept playing. By 2003, Marcus Webb had become a music teacher at an alternative high school in Seattle. He worked exclusively with at-risk kids, kids from broken homes, kids with addiction, kids who smelled like mildew and wore shoes held together with duct tape. Every single one of them learned to play on Kurt Cobain's guitar. Marcus started a nonprofit called Stay. It provides free music lessons and instruments to homeless teens. To date, the program has served over 2,400 kids. 17 of them have gone on to professional music careers. Hundreds more have simply stayed alive. In 2018, Marcus was invited to speak at a suicide prevention conference. He brought Kurt's guitar. He told this story for the first time publicly. When he finished, the room of 800 mental health professionals sat in absolute silence. Then they rose in a standing ovation that lasted 6 minutes. After the speech, a woman approached Marcus. She was in her 30s, dressed in a business suit, tears streaming down her face. "I was one of your students," she said. "10th grade. You let me borrow that guitar for a semester. I was planning to overdose the night you gave it to me. But I wanted to learn one song first. Just one. By the time I learned it, I didn't want to die anymore. I'm a social worker now. I work with kids like we were. I'm alive because Kurt Cobain saved you, and you saved me. That's the legacy. That's the secret." Kurt Cobain wasn't just a musician. He was a lighthouse in human form, damaged, broken, burning himself out to guide others through the dark. He couldn't save himself. God, did he try to save everyone else? And Marcus Webb? He's 61 years old now, still teaching, still giving guitars to kids who need them, still transforming pain into purpose, still staying. The guitar hangs in his classroom. Students ask about the signature every day, and Marcus tells them the truth. "This guitar belonged to someone who saw me when I was invisible. Now I see you. So let me ask you something. Who in your life is invisible right now? Who's standing in the rain, waiting to be seen? Maybe it's you. Maybe you're the one on the fire escape, wondering if anyone would notice if you were gone. Let Marcus's story be your answer. You matter. Your pain matters. Your music, whatever form it takes, matters. The world is waiting for the songs only you can sing. If this story hit you the way it hit me, do 2 things. First, leave a comment telling me what your guitar was, the thing that kept you breathing when nothing else could. Second, share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. You might not realize it, but you could be someone's Kurt Cobain. You could be the stranger who changes everything. And if you're struggling right now, if you're standing in the rain, please stay. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. Talk to someone, anyone, because there's a classroom full of kids 30 years from now who need the songs you haven't written yet. Stay for them. Stay for you. Just stay. This is the true story of Marcus Webb, Kurt Cobain, and a guitar that became a lifeline. Subscribe to this channel if you believe in the power of one moment to change everything. We tell stories like this every week because the world needs more lighthouses. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Now go be someone's light.